Hello, happy holidays, Bentley and beyond. I'm back with another Facebook Live. Our tips and tricks for finding a job and helping you get ahead in your career path. So, 'tis the season for lots of parties and lots of opportunities to meet new people. So, today we're going to be talking about holiday networking and how to do it without even knowing it, because the last thing you want to think about when you're going to a party is networking, right? And I have to be completely honest with you, I absolutely dread networking. I really hate it. I know I should always practice what I preach, but I have to admit that I don't. I'm definitely the type of person that when I walk into a party, I make a beeline for the people that I know and want to just hang with those people. And that is to my dismay, because I really should meet new people, and everyone should meet new people. So, as a matter of fact, it happened to me just the other night. I went into a party and there were about 30 people there, and I knew one person, and I made a beeline for that person. And after about 15 minutes of conversation, I had nothing left to say, and I was like, geez, I better meet some new people. So I started networking and I didn't even know it. So let's talk about how to do it in that pain-free way. So the first thing is obviously, when you're walking up to someone that you don't know, an easy way to break the ice is to simply say, how do you know the host or the hostess, or what brings you here tonight? So a lot of parties that you're going to be invited to are obviously going to be held by a friend. So ask the person, how do you know my friend? And it's a great way to kind of start the conversation. So for me, when I asked this individual, oh, how do you know my friend? They said, oh, well, I'm a friend too, and this is how I know this person. And the conversation just naturally started from there, which was really great. Something that I really like to do is be the one asking the questions, because of the fact that it takes the pressure off of me to have to talk. The more questions you ask, the more onus you're putting on the person that you're talking to do all the talking, and you're just kind of standing there. But make sure you're actively listening to what they're saying, because by what they're telling you, you can start to find some common ground, and then kind of gear the conversation, towards topics that you're really interested in. So, for example, for me, I love to know where people are from. I love to know what they do. A lot of times people are from the same areas that I'm from, or maybe doing what I do, or maybe, kind of in the same spaces. And, finding that common ground just like automatically makes you want to be friends with them. So for example, this guy that I was talking to at this party, I asked him, oh, where do you live? And he happened to live in the town that I grew up in, which is bizarre because nobody lives in that town. So I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. I grew up there. And then the conversation just went off from there. So that was really great. The next tip is obviously be ready to share your story, but in a way that isn't like a super elevator pitch. A lot of times when we're talking about networking, we're like, make sure you have your elevator pitch, make sure you have your value proposition ready to go. When you're at a party, nobody really wants to hear that. No one wants to hear your elevator pitch in the way that you've prepared it for a professional setting. So, when I say be ready to share your story, share it in a way that is going to be received well by the other person. So if you've been asking a lot of questions, and say, for example, the person that you're talking to, so like the guy I was talking to at this party is in HR. Well, I'm thinking, great, you're in HR and you work for a local company. I work in career services. Maybe you might want to get involved with us in some way. So I went deep into like what I did. So, where I work, what I do there. And by just giving him that bit of information, he was like, oh my gosh, I want to come and do mock interviews with you. And I want to get more involved with campus. And I'm really interested in getting into teaching. And again, it just took the conversation into a whole different place, which was fabulous. But if he wasn't in HR, or maybe he was a doctor or something, I would have probably not gone too deep into the weeds on what I did. I probably would have talked more about maybe my family, or maybe about my connections to medicine, to kind of keep the conversation going. So those are some tips in terms of kind of getting that conversation, again, continuing that conversation. My next tip is talk to a lot of people, because not every conversation that you have is going to take you anywhere but 15 minutes of conversation. So, so if you talk to 5 people at the party and you get one person's contact information, that's a win. If you go, I went to this party, like I said, there were 30 people at this party and I exchanged information with one person. That's awesome. So the more the merrier. Keep talking to people, and you never know who you might connect with. So for that one person that I met, and who he literally was texting me like his contact information, I'm going to want to follow up with him because of the fact that he showed some interest in what I do and I have interest in what he does. So make sure you follow up. It's perfectly acceptable to, send in a LinkedIn invitation to them and then follow up with an email saying it was great to meet you. I'd really love to learn more about this that we were talking about, or say looked at their LinkedIn profile and you saw some things that you're like, wow, that's really compelling and I would love to learn more about this. Or, say, I'm in finance and that person's in finance, and I realize that they've worked in various places that I'm interested in learning about, then I can say, hey, let's, love to get together for coffee and talk to you. I see that you worked here or there, or you did this or that, and I'd love to learn more. And chances are very, very good that they'll respond and say, absolutely, let's go for it. And then my last tip is just kind of a general tip when it comes to networking during the holidays is you've got the time. Usually you're either not working or you're not in school. Take advantage of it. And so what I mean by that is create a wish list of employers that you want to work for. And the reason I suggest that is that it does require research and time. And if you have the time, why not take advantage of it for the holidays and how it connects back to where you ultimately want to work. So anyway, I hope you find all of these things helpful. I hope that you network and not know it and find some really great people to continue relationships with along the way after the holidays are over. And I hope you all have a fabulous holiday season. And until next time,